welcome back to Ashton Gate. It feels so good saying that with fans here.
Another opportunity, and he's onside, and it's two for Bristol City, and this time, and it's in! An early goal for Bristol City, and Andy Vyman is back! And it goes clear header for Bristol City, and they are level! And it's a first goal for Andy King for his boyhood club.
Well, good evening and welcome to Robins TV for our next instalment of Championship action. Bristol City still drying off after succumbing to Blackpool in torrential conditions up there at the weekend. An opportunity tonight to bounce back against a Reading side, of course, that are languishing just above the relegation zone as it stands. Relegation fears on a knife edge after Derby County's result last night, but Bristol City have no time for sentiment as they look to get back to winning ways this evening. And here to watch it all alongside me is professional development phase coach Neil Swift. Neil, welcome along.
Thank you for having me again.
I believe you had a game today as well, and another good opportunity for a run out for the younger lads.
Yeah, it was a 23 fixture against Hartbury College, basically to get some minutes into lads coming back from injury, just to get them some bit of time on the grass. Couple of trialists that we looked at, so it was quite a good day. The result didn't go away, but it was a good learning curve for the boys, and we saw the boys that we needed to see. More
good experience, I'm sure. Looking back to Saturday up at Blackpool, obviously a disappointing performance in the end. In an attacking sense, things are looking pretty good for Bristol City. It's just about sort of shoring things up at the back at the moment.
Yeah, it's what happens in both boxes that counts at the end of the day. So it's, if we can close the back door a little bit more and, rely on Antoine and the likes to get us our goals, hopefully we'll be in the right direction.
So is that something sort of specifically that's been worked on this week? We'll have a look at the team news shortly, but have Nigel and Curtis been particularly focusing on that back line? I mean, there's been much talked about with regards to set pieces, and that's been letting Bristol City down, but it's now down to the players surely to try and cut out those individual errors.
You never know when those errors are going to happen. At the end of the day, it's getting people to switch on, be assertive to the 95th, 96th minute at the end of the day, and that's what we look for. But it's be more proactive as opposed to being reactive to what happens. So fingers crossed we got it right.
Side tonight, we must mention, is led by Curtis Fleming as the manager. Nigel Pearson has undergone a scheduled routine medical procedure. He's planning to return to work ahead of Sunday's game against Swansea, so we wish him a speedy recovery and look forward to welcoming him back to the touchline then. That'll be a big loss for Bristol City tonight, but of course he leaves the side in the capable hands of Curtis Fleming and Alex Ball as well.
Totally, they're used to working with these guys day in, day out. Not having the gaffer there obviously will be a miss, but he'll be getting his messages relayed into what he's wanting. So yes, he'll be missed, but it won't be such a catastrophic miss.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's have a look at the sides I'm sure Curtis and Nigel have been discussing all week, starting with Reading this evening. Paunovic has players returning from injury, so a few different options for him to consider tonight. 4 changes and 2 debuts as well. The man on your screen there is the first change. He comes in between the sticks. It's 19-year-old Estonian international and Arsenal loanee Karl Hein. He comes in to replace Southwood. An unchanged back four for Reading, but in front of them it's all changed. Danny Drinkwater dropping down to the bench alongside danger man John Swift, which might surprise a few people. In comes new signing Tom Ince, and then he's joined by Deli Bashiru and Junior Hoylett, I should say. Much debate as well around the transfer of George Puskás, who left the club on deadline day on loan to Italian side Pisa. He is obviously replaced today by Hoylett. And then up top, a man that's given Bristol City many headaches over the years, both in a Reading shirt and a Sheffield Wednesday shirt as well. Lucas João is there. And then on the bench tonight, returning from injury, Tom McIntyre, with a couple of those players that I just mentioned, Drinkwater and Swift as well. As for Bristol City, just one change tonight. Callum O'Dowda drops down to the bench. Zach Viner returns to the starting 11. Suggests that Pring maybe moves wider out on that left-hand side. Viner will come in, I'm sure, as a right centre-half. And then Jay Da Silva will keep his spot as right wing-back, which he seems to have made his own in recent times. And the remainder of the side keeps, as we've seen over the last few weeks, Hanno Masengo, Alex Scott hold down that youthful midfield, and then WSM are in the attack again. Vyman, Semenyo and Martin maintaining their spots. On the bench, Robbie Cundy returns with an abundance of youth, with Benarus, Conway, Bell and of course Joe Williams, who I'm sure will be itching to start his first game having returned from injury, but he's on the bench as the coaching staff take that return from injury steady. Right, time to hear from the man that's standing in for Nigel Pearson, Curtis Fleming.
Curtis, back here at Ashton Gate after 3 successful away games. How keen are you to build on that 7-side derby win?
Oh, you know, we're desperate to. I think we've got to look over the last few weeks. We look back on Saturday and it was disappointing. We've got a chance to make it right, as the Championship does. You can't wallow in your sorrows or can't be too down after anything, or too high when you win a game in the Championship, because the next one comes around so quickly. But it's great to be back here. The pitch looks brilliant. It's a great night for a game and we're really looking forward to it.
How important is it to get the points to go with the improved performances?
Well, that's the be-all and end-all. That's the business we're in. It's a results-based business, and the performances are fantastic. But what we've said is performances, we need to get the points. But the more consistent the performance, the more points we will pick up. We have no doubt about that. I thought we let ourselves down performance-wise on Saturday. In the previous 2 games, I thought we should have got more than we did, but we didn't. But we play home tonight, and it's a great opportunity for us to go and get 3 points.
Minimal changes. You brought Zach Viner in instead of Callum. What do you want to see from Zach tonight?
Well, we just want to see, Zach's a good footballer, you know. He's been in and out of the side, and we've got no doubt about his abilities. There's some things that we've had to work with him on, and he's a good lad. You know, he's Bristol City through and through, and he's desperate to play. But you know, tonight we think we need him in the team. From what he gives us, he's a very, very good passer of the ball. He's a good defender, and I think Cam Pring coming in, you know, at the left wing back position will be a real exciting one for us, and a joy, because he's chomping at the bit to play there.
Reading, you say every game is tough. They're scrapping at the bottom there, just outside the relegation zone. What do you expect from them tonight?
They're a good footballing team. I think the people looking at, you know, as a coach, you've had to look at the 3 previous games that they've played, and you know, they're a very, very good footballing team. Like us, they've had some problems. I think the coach has talked about keeping the ball out and out defensively, and we talk the same. But every game is very, very difficult, as you know. And despite that, it's not a repetitive. It's not a record that keeps going round. It's going to be very, very tough, and we have to be the best that we can be tonight, and then see what Reading have. We've got to concentrate on what we do.
All the best.
Thank you very much.
Curtis Fleming there with Dave Barton. And Neil, Curtis touched on it there in terms of Reading being still very much a dangerous side. It's almost worse playing sides in their kind of predicament than it is those that may be coasting sort of mid-table. They've stuck by their head coach as well, and they started obviously last season very well under him. They could be dangerous still tonight, and they've plenty of attacking threats as well.
First and foremost, they're a possession-based team, so that they want to look after the ball, they want to play. If they hit the ground running, they could be very dangerous with the way they move the ball about. So it's up to us to be a little bit aggressive on the front foot to stop them or curtail them from actually playing. If we can nail that early, I think we'll get the benefits of it, because I think we might be able to turn them on the back foot after that high press, maybe.
And it must fill you with a lot of pride, but seeing the likes of Alex Scott, I mean, particularly against Blackpool, I felt I sort of noticed in commentary, he still looked as though throughout the game, even though it was terrible conditions, the person that would probably spark the game into life for Bristol City. You've obviously seen him come through the under-23s. He's completely established himself now as a Championship player. He looks so at home.
Scotty, when he's playing with us, he can have a quiet game, then all of a sudden he'll just do something out of the blue, and it's like, wow, where's that come from? So he can be coasting and not doing anything magnificent, just doing the basics really well, then he'll pull something out. So he is a potential match winner, and we've got a few of them in our team, to be quite honest.
And that's the key thing as well. I suppose on the training ground, you probably see a lot of young players come through that are particularly skillful and have all the attributes to be a top player. But then when you put yourself in an environment like this, it's then having the confidence to kind of influence games and show for the ball and make yourself known to your colleagues.
If you look at what Scotty has done from playing academy football straight into the first team environment, he's just carried on an upward curve. So it's been superb for him. He's respectful to everything that goes around, but he's not showing them too much respect, and that he's brave, and that's what's helped him. So he's not disrespectful, but he doesn't give people that respect. He goes for them, and it's good. It's good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ben Roos is another one. Obviously, he's on the bench tonight. I can't remember what game it was where he kicked the boot away, I think on his full debut for Bristol City. But yeah, another player again there, along with the likes of Conway and Bell, that just seem to have the right temperament.
These lads have all grown up together in pretty much the same teams. So everyone that you've mentioned there are individual winners. So Eamon kicking the boot away, he wouldn't have been asked, he wouldn't have been told. That's just instinctive of him to get the upper hand on who he's playing against. And it's good. Some may frown upon it, but at the end of the day, it's those marginal gains are what we need.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Neil. We'll talk more shortly, but it's time to head pitch side now to Downsy as we're discussing how we are marking here at Ashton Gate the heroics of the Ashton Gate 8, and he is pitch side now with Paul Cheesley.
Thank you very much, Toby. Yeah, we don't really need to tell the story of the Ashton Gate 8 to any real Bristol City fan. We know what these incredible people did for the club, and Paul Cheesley, former City striker, is with me now. I mean, it was a momentous moment, and those boys certainly changed the future of this club.
Well, to be quite honest, I don't know if I'd have done the same thing as them, but you don't know until you're in that situation. But in fairness, it was a very bold thing to do, and that's why we're still here today.
So pleased that you're involved in the Former Players Association, of course, which is going great guns now, celebrating the 40th anniversary. What is in store for that game in Middlesbrough?
Do I really want to tell everybody? But no, there's plenty going on. I'm going to meet them with Neil Palmer, who's been instigating in that kind of thing, and Scott Davidson, of course. We're going to take them up to the training ground up at Phelan, which is magnificent facility there, so they can look around, then bring them around to the new stadium, take a look around there, then we're going to wine and dine them, have some fun, and reminisce maybe a little bit, and also thank them very much for what they've done.
In terms of the history of the club, and I mean, when you say the Ashton Gate 8 to anyone, they immediately know. It's really important that we sort of continue this memory, isn't it, to younger fans so they know who these people are.
Well, not just that, to recognise the people who ripped their contracts up as well, and potentially had no living to go to. So for me, a very heroic thing to do. But having said that, all you young fans, this is because these guys ripped their contracts up that you're still here watching at a beautiful stadium like this as well.
Yeah, quite right. Tell us a little bit more about the Former Players Association and what you've got planned.
Okay, so the Former Players Association was the brainchild of maybe Richard Goulding, new CEO, and also Neil Palmer. Also, the ambassadors or committee members, if you would like. You have Jansen Derrick from the 60s, me from the 70s. I am that old. Alan Walsh from the 80s and Scott Murray from then onwards. It's a magnificent thing to do. What we're trying to do is get different venues for different activities, maybe raise some money, put it in a bank somewhere, and if anybody needs any help in the future, maybe former players especially, it's like your own PFA sort of thing, but within the club. I think it's a great thing to do, and the club are right behind it.
And there's no doubt that the Bristol City fans are just magnificent, aren't they? They're a different level, and being able to support the Former Players Association is key.
Well, for me, it's all about the fans as well. Let's get their involvement there as well. If they can donate, it'll be fine. If they want to turn up to the action that is going on various places, we might even have some charity football matches in the future. There will be a timetable coming out fairly shortly. It takes a bit of time to set something like this up. It's not done lightly. It's done very, very professionally. And these guys that are involved are really keen to get on with it.
Stuff, Paul. Thank you very much. Paul Cheesley, former City striker. Don't forget all of the celebrations for that 40th anniversary at the Middlesbrough game, and stand by and stay tuned to the club channels as we reveal the details of how we'll be celebrating the Ashton Gate 8's 40th anniversary coming very soon. In the meantime, from pitch side here, ahead of kick-off, back up to the studio, Toby.
Thank you very much, Downsy. Always great to hear from Paul Cheesley. On the way, we're going to hear from the man taking centre stage today, the first of a two-part interview with Curtis Fleming after this short break. Very warm welcome back to Robins TV. Bristol City versus Reading tonight in the Sky Bet Championship. I'm joined by Neil Swift, who we'll be hearing more from shortly. But now it's time to hear from the man that's standing in for Nigel Pearson tonight. It's Curtis Fleming.
Curtis, welcome to Robins TV. We're going to try and chart your journey to BS3 here today by taking a look through some pictures that might mean something to you. So you don't know what pictures are coming, but press next on that laptop for us and tell us about the start of your footballing journey.
Wow, yes. St Patrick's Athletic, in Jakor. It was brilliant for me, really. It gave me the real groundwork to go on and succeed, really. I wanted to. Quite funny, I'd been 16, 17s with Ireland, and I'd been on a lot of trials to England, and it hadn't happened, and I was thinking, I might retire. I'll just go and play with my mates. And Brian Kerr, who ended up being the Ireland manager later on, was the manager there, and he came to my house and said, will you come and play League of Ireland? I said, no, I don't really, because I had a few clubs involved in it, in trying to get me to play, and I said, no, you're okay. And he said, I'll start you at the season, so you're going to start the season, and it's up to you to stay in the team.
Yeah, a couple of spells at St Patrick's. You then move on to Middlesbrough. First season, click next on that laptop for us. First season,
here we go.
Instant promotion
Wow.
to the Premier League, the first Premier League season. I'm going to ask about some doubts again. Did you have any doubts about moving to the second division and leaving Ireland and joining Middlesbrough?
Yes, I did. At the time, I was looking after my mum. My mum had passed by that time. She was single parent, so I had a younger brother, younger sister. I was paying the bills and doing all that sort of stuff. So it was a big step for me to leave home, but it was an opportunity. But I was working at that time in a clothes shop in Dublin and playing part time, and I just thought, if I don't go now, I'll never go. And luckily enough, the club, St Patrick's, agreed to fee with Middlesbrough. And the stories are amazing, because I'd come on trial the season previous, and Colin Tudor got sacked. And the guy who'd come to see me in Ireland said to Lenny Lawrence, as soon as he came, you should sign this guy. Ron Bone was his name, and luckily enough, I did. And I thought every season was going to be like that. That was my first season. It was unbelievable. We got to the semi-final of the Rumbelows Cup at the time. And I'd been working in the clothes shop in the June, July, and then in October I'm walking out at Old Trafford, against Giggsy and Brian Robson, Paul Ince and Schmeichel and all of them, and it was just kind of pinched me, I couldn't believe it. So it was wonderful memories.
It wasn't the longest stay in the Premier League's first season, but Middlesbrough then return in 1995. Yeah. The club then enters, I think, one of its most famous periods, really. There's so many famous players and a really successful period, and where you meet a certain Nigel Pearson, of course. So before we get on to the boss, what was it like playing for the club at that time? Because there was 3 cup finals and a relegation in there as well. So it was, every game had something on it, didn't it?
Oh, every game. It was unbelievable. We ended up, we signed. It's quite funny. I ended up spending just over 10 years at Middlesbrough, and it was like playing for 2 clubs, really. We started off with that first Premier League promotion under Lenny Lawrence at Ayresome Park, and we were plugging along, and it's kind of, who's going to come to Middlesbrough. Then Brian Robson comes in, we win the championship in his first season to get promoted back to the Premier League. And then you start signing Brazilian Player of the Year and Fabrizio Ravanelli, who scored 2 in the European Cup final, and someone rang me and said he's coming to Middlesbrough. I was like, are you sure? Just looked at him scoring 2 for Juventus in the Champions League final, which you would be now. So it was unbelievable.
Yet again, the club bounces back, and yourself and Nigel achieve promotion at the first time of asking. So what was Nigel like to play with?
Oh, great. I really like playing with Nigel, because he is as he is now. He's quite straight. He did his job brilliantly well. People you say probably not the quickest sometimes, and not this and not that, but I knew that when I played and he was behind me, I could get tight to wingers. He would always be there to help. He was a leader in the dressing room as well. And I wouldn't say we were the best of mates right through. We've always kept in contact. We've we popped down to see him and stuff like that. We weren't talking every week. Nigel, he doesn't talk to people every week. But no, that was real good times. Real good characters in that dressing room. Some good players. Paul Merson was outstanding that year, and We had Andy Townsend as well, who's captained Ireland, so that was good. It was a good chance for me to play with people like that. But Nigel was the real leader of it, and to bounce back that season was huge after the disappointment of the previous one.
Fascinating interview there with Curtis Fleming. You can watch the second part of that interview on Robins TV on Sunday. That game is available overseas, but there is the Beanback taking place at the Sports Bar and Grill at Ashton Gate as well, and you can come down to Ashton Gate and watch the game from the Sports Bar as well. We hope to see as many of you as possible there. Right, now it's time to relive the game between these two sides from earlier on this season, and of course tonight City have the opportunity to do the double over their Reading counterparts.
Another set-piece option now. Thomas Callas. What looks like it's been worked on at the training ground. In goes the throw. Nodded in. Yes. And it's in. An early goal for Bristol City, and Andy Vyman is back. Inside the first 5 minutes, Bristol City are first to draw blood here.
Really, what a great goal. A long throw, Thomas Callas, the flick on, and then Andy Vyman in the middle. Reading the play, anticipating, looking, you see him on the move, ready, and as the flick on comes, he's the first to react and head it in.
Too far out of range to go directly for goal. I'm sure he'll cause a few problems in there anyway. Another opportunity, and he's onside, and it's 2 for Bristol City, and this time is Chris Martin to double their lead.
Yeah, brilliant, really good. Cam headed it back across. I think they were really worried about Thomas Callas at the back post, and they've left Cam all on his own, and he's headed the ball back into the danger area, and Chris has been on hand to tuck it away. They're really good.
Bristol City caught sleeping. They thought the ball had gone out, and there's an opportunity to pull one back, and it's capitalised upon. And it's Aziz, 2 in 2 for him, and that will really disappoint Nigel Pearson. Players just caught sleeping out on that far side.
Yeah, it was a difficult one. They come in off of their left, our right, managed to find their way into the box and provide a cutback. Everyone's just gone past the ball, and it's gone to their player. He's put on some muscle and some weight there.
Here comes Andy Vyman. He pokes it through to Alex Scott. Will he go for the first time shot? Back to Vyman. Yes! Andy Vyman with his second of the night surely seals all 3 points for Bristol City.
That was really good awareness from Alex. A good break as this broke. Andy does well to slip it through to Alex, and then Alex shows greater composure and intelligence there to cut the ball back across. And Andy is calm on the ball. He doesn't hit it first time. He takes the touch. He's calm in that situation. A lot of people might have tried smashing that at the keeper first time. He's let it run and then been able to finish really positively. But that pass there from Alex is really good.
Sengo still full of running, trying to keep up though with the forward who shoots from range, and it's Liam Moore who came out from the back, and he shot from distance. I think took everybody by surprise, including Dan Bentley. The shot not hit with much power, it just nestles in that far corner.
Yeah, he stepped out from the back and kept driving with it and tried his luck from range. He's under pressure, just couldn't get enough pressure to stop the shot. I think it comes through legs, maybe through here. Rob.
Andy Vyman finding the net there, a sight we've obviously become familiar with in the last few weeks. Now it's still time for you to grab your match day pass, whether you're watching domestically or overseas. You can do so now at robins.bcfc.co.uk, but it's at this point we say goodbye to you, those of you that are watching tonight on YouTube and on Facebook.